Podcast City Network.
This is Brad Chandler, and you're listening to The Brad Chandler Show.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Brad Chandler Show. Please make sure to follow me on Twitter at Brad Chandler Show and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. You can find it by searching for Brad Chandler Show. With me today, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself because you've given me three different names. I believe you said you wanted to go by Draka?
Draka Lane.
Draka Lane from the industrial metal band Hagy Lane.
That's correct.
So how are we doing today?
We're doing great.
That's good to hear. So I'm just going to go straight into it, and I have a few questions for you, and I appreciate you so much coming on here and sharing your music and whatnot. I love talking about different types of music. I have had death metal bands, Swedish metal bands. I had a band from Sweden yesterday. You are my first interview from Canada.
Cool. Yes, I'm very excited to be on the show, Brad. I really appreciate it. Just another way to get everybody out there. So far, I'm independent, but hopefully in the next few months, that's going to change, and lots of prospects going on.
Well, that's one of the things that I hope to help do with the musicians that I have on. I've had a member from a couple of national acts in the U.S., and that's not my goal to just talk to the national acts. I want unsigned bands to come on, talk, and get other people to listen to your music as well. So with that being said, I have to ask, how did you end up coming up with the name Hagy Lane?
Even though I'm from Canada and was born here and the whole nine yards, I actually played in a project from Pennsylvania. The band was at that time called Horror Technics, and actually it's now called Suicide Puppets, and they're out of the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. I still am in contact with them every once in a while, see what they're up to and that stuff, but the place that we used to rehearse was a road called Hagy Lane, and we had a warehouse there, and it was awesome. It was a party shed, no question there. Probably a good, I would say a good 1,000 square foot warehouse that we just would go party at, do whatever, head out to the bar after, come back there, party until wee hours of the morning, and it was a good time, and lots of fun times there. So I don't know, I had been working on a side project even before I ended up moving to Harrisburg area. And as far back as like 1996, I want to say. So on the side, I was goofing off with that, doing programming, stuff like that. Very industrial, very, just basically myself. And so I really liked that Hagy Lane. So it's actually a location, a place. And I just thought it sounded cool. It had that, industrial, Manson-ish type feel to it, and so I went with it.
Okay, so the Hagy Lane came from a place where you used to party and what is it? Jam pretty
Yeah.
much with your old band. All right, well
Just
that's pretty cool.
Just outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So if you were to Google search it, you'd find it there.
Middle Paxton Township. Does that sound
Uh,
familiar?
I can't recall. That does sound familiar, though. Yeah.
Right off of 22.
Actually, I think it's Dauphin County.
Yep. I looked it up. Yeah, it's Middle Paxton Township, Pennsylvania, and it's right off of Route 22. So that's pretty cool to hear. I thought that was a weird name, and that was actually like one of the first things that I thought of. I was like, how did you come up with Hagy Lane? What is that from? What is that in reference to? So that's pretty cool to find out. So my next question for you, being an industrial band, what inspirations do you have with your music, and what other bands do you consider yourself similar to?
Okay. Well, my inspirations, even back as far as then, was Cradle of Filth. I'm a huge Cradle of Filth fan, especially their older stuff. They have been like one of my main go-tos ever since that time. Also, another band was called Skinny Puppy.
Yep.
My fave album is The Process. I thought it was the best, and I think that was just before Ogre passed away. And they were
Okay.
just a really really cool. I thought pioneers of music back at that time. They crushed it, and I loved their music. So I kind of wanted to incorporate the death metal aspect of the music with that Skinny Puppy background stuff. So as time has moved on, of course, my influences have changed, but I love Zombie, of course, and especially White Zombie, and Nine Inch Nails, and your typical in your face mainstream industrial stuff. But I also talked to a couple guys. One is a band called Silence and Machine, and he's down in, I believe, Alabama area, and he's really cool. He's got some very cool ideas. He's not signed either, but I'm also being produced by another industrial band called Dawn of Ashes, and
Okay.
he's from Los Angeles area. He's mixing and mastering what is going to be an EP, which I'm hoping to have out in the spring. And that EP is going to be called Children of Chaos. And he's going to be featured on it as a guest appearance. I also have a guest appearance coming from Tim Skold and Nero Bellum. Tim Skold, as you know, used to be the guitarist for Marilyn Manson.
Better known for KMFDM.
That too, and yeah, both projects obviously very successful. And then, of course, I love Ministry too as well. So I'm very excited. I decided to kind of go with more of a commercial song for a cover. It's going to be Ordinary World from Duran Duran, but
Okay.
it's definitely got a dark edge to it, with Nero Bellum doing the programming for it. And him and Tim work on a project now called Not My God, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
Not My God, huh?
Not My God.
I'll definitely have to check that out. I just double checked on the Dawn of Ashes. It looks like I actually ended up following them. I didn't even know about it. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know a lot outside of say Ministry. I know a little bit about Skinny Puppy. Obviously, I know about Nine Inch Nails. But besides those bands, I don't know too much when it comes to industrial music.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I did get drawn in a little bit when I reached. I believe I've reached out to you, or was it, or what it could have been the other way around. I'm not 100% sure because like I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I get so many conversations that go on
Yeah.
with this project. But I whoever it was that reached out to whoever, I have listened to the song that we'll be listening to later on at the end of this episode, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have to say, like I've said before, not really don't know a lot about it and whatnot. But Critical Filth, great band. I'm a death metal fan. I love black metal as well. I've got to party with those guys before.
Nice.
Great bunch of dudes. Donnie is he's probably one of the sweetest guys that you would ever like imagine meeting.
Yeah.
Because like on stage he puts out this, badass persona.
Yeah.
And then we're like hanging, my buddy and I were hanging backstage with Critical Filth. And Denny had no idea how the United States Postal Service works. And all he was concerned about was getting something mailed to his daughter for her birthday. And I was just like, man, this is like this guy is like so evil, but he's so sweet.
Total dichotomy, eh?
Right. So my next question for you is, you're a multi-instrumentalist, and a lot of people, I've noticed throughout my time playing music as well, that a lot of people end up playing more than one instrument. What instruments do you play, and how long have you been playing them for?
My first instrument was guitar, and that would have been when I was like 5 years old. Of course, the epic first song ever learned is "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple, right? So, I was just a kid, and I goofed off with guitar. I learned "Tainted Love" and some Stray Cats back in the day when I was very, very young. This would have been public school. And as time moved on, I got interested in learning how to play the drums. At school, of course, like we have an extensive music program here in Canada for school kids. So I started learning the drums grade 7, grade 8. And by high school, grade 9, I was good enough to play in the senior band. So that was kind of cool. I got a lot of education about the technicalities of drumming and how to read music and stuff like that when it comes to drums especially, but also different percussion instruments. So learned a lot of stuff that way. And then I just grew from there. I went back to the guitar by the time I was in grade 9, 10, as well as playing in the senior band still, and just kept growing. Now, mostly with that being said, I'm not a technical instrumentalist. I like to keep things simple even though I do have a bit of technical background. The majority of the stuff that I do is by ear. I just have a better, I feel sometimes when you get too hard into the technical parts of it, you lose your creativity. And I was writing songs as early as 16 years old. Then I learned the piano. It was hilarious. A bunch of my buddies, we were, obviously at that age group, everybody's experimenting with drugs, right? So we were at a party one night, and there was this really good looking girl that I wanted to impress. So I sat down at the piano. I was goofing off with it, and I said, at that time, Motley Crue's "Home Sweet Home" had just been released. I was like, I'm gonna learn this damn song tonight. She goes, "You can't learn that song." I said, "You watch me." I said, "Hold my beer." I, within an hour and a half, had the damn thing done. She came back into the room where I'd been working diligently for a good couple hours, and sat down beside me and goes, "Oh my God, I cannot believe you just pulled that off." So that's how I started going into the keyboard stuff. And then as time moved on, I went through high school, college, still goofing off with music. Went through college and ended up in a couple cover bands. And then I got bored of that. So by the time I hit about 26, 27, I was starting to write pretty heavy. So I started recording on just a little 4-track recorder at home.
Yep.
And then after that, I invested some money into a mini disc recorder.
Okay.
And started working working. It was a fair freedom with that. I could bounce tracks and do all kinds of stuff. And then after that, then I started, hitting the studio for real. And at that time, ADAT was the big thing.
Yep, I actually just got rid of my ADAT player
Right.
recorder.
So I had both the VHS DATs that were out and the
Yep.
ADATs, and doing it that way for a while. I was working with a guy from Lansing, Michigan. So I'd cross the border usually every other weekend and head up to Lansing. It was about probably 2 hours from my place where I was living because I was just outside of Detroit. And I would head to Lansing, and it was really cool because he'd already been exposed to some pretty serious bands. And he played in a side project with Jason Newsted and Kirk Hammett. And he was doing that. And then he'd have every once in a while, the lead singer would show up from Merciful Fate and
Okay.
King Diamond. So he was networking with some pretty big names. So anyway,
Sounds like it.
yeah. So he decided that was my first exposure to some pretty big people, and I couldn't believe that it was happening to me. And I was like, how did this happen? So anyway, I was like, well, if I can do this from where I lived then, I'm going to branch out and really take a stab at this. So I decided to move to the States. He ended up moving to San Francisco
Yep.
to be around Jason Newsted and those people and some of the Bay Metal bands. And I ended up down in Harrisburg and worked. I got a college degree and was working down there. I could go over on a visa and work in bands. And I played in two bands down there. The one was the Suicide, that's now the Suicide Puppets. And then I also ended up with a band called Spine Belt. And they're still cracking along here and there with their stuff. And we were getting exposed on the radio a fair bit. And it was a very exciting time. Played with some big bands down there, opened up for Dope at that time.
Okay.
And just after
Good
I left
band.
again, I moved home to Canada. I was getting homesick and burnout. I was working way too hard, and they ended up opening for Marilyn Manson shortly after I left. So
Of
anyway,
course.
I came home to Canada, regrouped, and started working hard on my solo project, which is now Hagy.
So you've had quite the extensive list of people that have had other connections.
Yeah,
Luckily, you've gotten that connection with people such as Tim Skold.
yeah, and to go back to Cradle of Filth, a girl named Lindsay Schoolcraft. I don't know if she was in the band when you met them, but she's from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada too. So actually, I started talking to her. I want to say 2 years ago at Christmas, and I sent her a message. I didn't expect to get a message back, but she contacted me that day and said, "Hey, how's it going?" So we started chatting, and that was my inspiration to kind of really start to focus again on music. I'd raised my family. I have a couple daughters and a son, and they're old enough now that I don't have to worry about them so much. And so then I released a couple singles, one being Kenora. There's also another one on YouTube called Forsaken, and
Okay.
it's pretty heavy too as well. And then again, I've got this new EP that I've been working on quite some time, and I'm kind of steering towards a trap metal sound. I don't know if you're familiar with Ghost Main or Suicide Boys or Corpse Husband, but they're newer projects that are really starting to get well known. And then there's, of course, Skinned. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Can't
But
say as I have.
well,
You're naming off these bands that I've like. Whoa.
yeah, I'm definitely underground when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Skinned is really cool because they've got Jonathan Davis from Korn featured on their stuff, and he helped produce some of their songs, and they touch on true crime. So they've got a song Alyssa Lamb, which was the girl, of course, at the hotel in Los Angeles that ended up for a while. They're very suspicious stuff that went on, but they ended up deeming it a suicide afterwards. And all your big serial killers. I can't think of the hotel now name right now. It's not even close. Cecil Hotel, sorry.
Okay.
So the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, Richard Ramirez
Okay.
stayed there. There's a lot of famous murderers that were there, and most of their music touches on that true crime murder type background. But they're really becoming a heavy influence of mine lately, and they're spelled SKYND. Really cool stuff and very metalish as well. But yeah, like Ghost Main, the guy is unbelievable. His creativity is through the roof. So I've been kind of steering. So the EP is going to have some really cool, definitely variable writing when it comes to all of this stuff. It's very out there, but it's still thick and heavy as hell. So
That's all that really matters, right?
yeah, and I gravitate hard towards death metal. I absolutely love it. It was one of the first bands I was ever in, was a band called Gates of Rage back when I was younger, and we were hardcore death and grindcore type music. We were pretty heavy. And back at that time, which was 97 area, they were my roots. I was into Biohazard and some pretty thick bands, and of course Cradle of Filth and Behemoth and Dimmu Borgir and bands like that. And I'm still to this day into them. I network with another band called Tribe of Pazuzu, and they're from Canada too as well. And you get a chance to check them out. They're really cool guys.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to give them a check, a listen to. After we finish the episode, I'll have you shoot me some links and whatnot so that I can listen to some of these bands. Because like I've said before, I don't really consider myself in the industrial scene per se. So this next question kind of comes out of my ass, I guess you could say.
Oh, no.
Do you revitalized? The reason why I say that is because there's someone like me. When you think of an industrial metal band, you really think of two bands right off the top of my head. You have Nine Inch Nails and Ministry. I know that KMFDM was a thing. They're not as big as they used to be, but like Nine Inch Nails and Ministry are the biggest names that I know of from the industrial scene. So do you believe that will be revitalized? I'm starting to see more people doing their own projects and trying to do more industrial. But for somebody who's doing the music, do you believe it'll be revitalized?
I believe that it is gonna go full circle. And you think about the old classic rock stuff. For a while there, we went full circle with it. Back in the day, they had the Led Zeppelin tribute album. They had, I know Black Sabbath is considered metal, but they had the Black Sabbath Volume 1 and 2 of the Nativity in Black. So I believe everything goes cyclical, and I think we're running into another wave of it, mostly because a lot of people are just using so much software that you can use at home. It's becoming cheaper and easier to record at home, which is basically what I do. I do as much as I can from here. If I have to seek out a studio, I go there and do a little bit, and then I send my mix and masters. I send my mixes out to Los Angeles to be finalized. So I do believe it's gonna come back to that, and I am seeing so many different projects that are industrial influenced springing back up. People just looking for another place to go, because I think that the music industry has just been such a stifled by, and don't get me wrong, because like I love listening to like bands like NWA and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
rap has been just so in your face for the
I
last.
don't understand. One of the things when I was younger, see, I grew up in the 90s, and I remember being like, you had your punks, you had your thugs or gangsters or whatever, you had your skaters, you had your metalheads, you have your preps and stuff like that. And I know back when I was growing up, like say middle school, I started listening to Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, some of the new metal stuff that was coming out. And if you listened to anything but like the metal stuff, you were considered a poser.
Yeah.
And literally nowadays, I catch myself listening. Like, I'm a huge death metal fan. I love death metal. I love deathcore. I love metal.
Yeah.
But I like listening to some hip hop. I love listening to rap. NWA, bringing that up. If you would have said something, if I would have been saying this when I was 15 years old, I'd probably be kicking myself. I'd be kicking my own ass right now. But like, I love hip hop. I love hip hop. I'll even say it. I have some pop bands that I listen to. I'm not even afraid to say it. One of my favorite guitarists is actually John Mayer.
Right.
You know, so it's like you have to keep a diverse. You have to keep your stuff diverse, because if you don't keep it, if you keep it all in one group, it's going to sound too similar to like other people's stuff.
That's right. And that's exactly my background too. I 100% agree with you. If you do not tap into different creative zones, whether it's what you choose to project, if you don't go there, then your music is going to end up sounding all the same or like somebody else. And so, like, I like some days to just sit down and chill and listen to especially old Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, especially. I can appreciate Journey. I can appreciate Boston. I can appreciate lots of older stuff, but then I can bridge over and listen to some really heavy duty Cannibal Corpse. I Kill Switch Engage, some of the new metal, to I even like there's an artist, Chris Isaacs, that I listen to. He's from Canada too. Like I like to listen to anything that moves my spirit. And that's the type of writer that I like to be, is because if you create a sandbox that's nice and big, then you've got lots of room to branch out and play. But if you create a sandbox that's like 4x4, guess what? You're stuck in that 4x4 forever,
Right.
especially when it comes to writing music. Because, I used to laugh at the poser thing that used to be the thing back in the day, where people would make fun of that stuff, because, really at the end of the day, when it comes to your creative stuff and flow, like, somebody could say, well, that sounds poserish, but the truth of the matter is, or you sold out was the other catchphrase.
Yeah, that's as a musician myself, I actually like that sold out thing. Kind of, I used to say it.
Yeah.
We all used to say it, like Metallica. Metallica was one of those bands that everybody said, oh, Metallica sold out once they did Load and Reload. Actually, the Black Album. If it wasn't for the, I'm gonna be dead honest with you. If it wasn't for the Black Album, when I heard the Black Album, I was listening to Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer. So when I heard the Black Album, my whole my life turned around, because I heard this band. It wasn't like super metal, but for me it was heavy.
Yeah.
Like going from listening to that shit to going to listening to Metallica, and then I went back. And I went backwards throughout their last 4 albums, and if I would have found them later, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know. Like right now, I listen to a lot of slamming brutal death metal. I've started listening to some metal bands from Japan. I'll tell you right now, if you ever want to just listen to something because you don't know what they're saying, go ahead and listen to some of those bands. Yeah, it's just what they play is insane.
Well, and they're so technical, right?
Oh yeah, if they consider themselves, it's called slam metal,
Yeah.
and it's like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah. I like to steer in anything, like I said, that moves my spirit. And
Yeah,
some days I'll be like, I just don't feel like listening anything, but I don't know. I'll throw it out there. Even like, maybe a Johnny Cash song here or something, in there. Like the only thing that I don't really like or
country.
do is pop country. I can dig some of the old school stuff, like the old bluegrass. Like I'll listen to John Denver, but it's got to be the older stuff. I just don't like this
I get you.
rock and roll pop country stuff. Maybe once in a while I'll hear a song. My daughters are 16, 14 years old.
Okay.
So they listen to a lot of variety too. And every once in a while they'll show me a song and it's not too bad, but it's definitely not my go-to.
Yeah, I have. My girlfriend listens to some of the newer pop country stuff, and I'm just like, I don't like country as it is.
Yeah.
But you know what? We listen to a lot of metal when we're in the car, so it's a lot of what I want to listen to.
Yeah.
So when that song comes on, when one of their songs come on, it's like I gotta bite the bullet and shut my fucking mouth once in a while,
Yeah, you gotta go with it. My wife listens to New Kids on the Block, and
that's another fucking band I was listening to before I found Metallica. Man, I will never sugarcoat anything that I've listened to. I listened to New Kids on the Block. I've listened to I've listened to Backstreet Boys, all those new pop bands and whatnot, NSYNC and shit. Back in the late 90s, I would have told you, no, I don't listen to that shit. Now it's on my playlist. I'll put that shit on my playlist, and I'm not even kidding. I'm at work, and we listen to some music there, and then the guy that I work in an office with, he'll look over me, and he'd be like, what the fuck are we listening to? I was like, don't fucking judge me. Don't fucking judge me. Just go along with it.
Yeah, totally.
So
well, it's funny, we went to the Cradle of Filth show, and Wednesday 13 was playing, and Raven Black. I'm not sure if you've heard of them either, but they're from Los Angeles. So I got chatting with the girl from Raven Black. She's the lead singer, and she was telling me that the guys, when they're on tour, a lot of times just to warm up their voice and work on different harmonies and things like that, they will listen to deliberately Backstreet Boys, Kids on the Block, to try and practice, hearing falsettos and things like that, just to keep their creative edge and spirit too. So yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
All us musicians do that. I love Ghost, and they're
Ghost is probably one of the best bands that are out, that have come out in the past, I want to say 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, I remember the first time I heard of them, I had a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
We went to school together, and I walked into his work one day, and he was like, hey man, have you heard this band Ghost? Because he knew that I was really into music and stuff, and he got me into like Arch Enemy, and he really got, like, I liked Cannibal Corpse, but he really got me into Cannibal Corpse. And then one day I walked into his work, and he was like, hey man, have you heard this band Ghost? And I was like, no. And he was like, hey, here's a burned CD. He's like, don't tell anybody I gave it to you.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me, and I popped it in, and I was expecting a death metal band.
Right.
I pop it in, and I hear this fucking guy singing. Now, I'm not a person, I'm not really into the whole clean vocal stuff, because I'll say until the day I die, there's a lot of people out there that try to do clean vocals that can't do clean vocals, and it just makes it sound horrible.
Yeah.
I've always been into the growls and the screams, but I've also appreciate when you have a vocalist who can actually sing. Yeah. And I say that to a lot of people. When I popped this fucking CD in and I listened to it, I was just like, I was blown the fuck away. I was just like, holy shit, dude, this band is so awesome. Like it wasn't like super gainy, it wasn't distorted. It was just the right mix of the right type of music, the right type of vocals, and I absolutely love them. And I don't know why people shit on them. I really don't. Are they overhyped? Okay, I can give that to you, but they're so fucking good.
Yeah. They fill it out so well, right? And
Yeah. So
like I'll go back to like another incredible.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Draka, but because we don't have a lot of time, I kind of want to get into the other questions.
Okay, sorry, brother.
Not a problem, man. So you have a few songs up on your website, which is hagylane.com.
Yes.
You said that you are currently working on an EP. When can people expect to see that?
I'm hoping that we have it finished by somewhere through the April time frame. I mean, if we go into May, then so be it. But right now, I've got art's being worked on for it right now.
Okay.
Again, I've sent it to LA, so I should have the mix and mastered stuff back to me within a few weeks.
Okay.
And then I have to do what's called embedding codes into those songs.
Yep.
So when it gets uploaded to Spotify and places like that, then that's how I get my royalties. Is these codes give that thing. So that usually only takes a couple days, and then if I choose to release it as an independent, then the process will be a little bit faster. But right now, I've got label interest going on. I'm very, very excited. I hope it happens because, quite honestly, just like any other artist that's out there, you need money to make money, and it's a tough road to hoe. Trying to do it as an independent is it's expensive, and definitely it looks like you guys stateside are starting to open up. I'm seeing there's a band called Sepsis from your area.
Yeah, I know them. I follow them on Facebook.
Right. So I talk with them quite regularly, and they're starting to book shows. So it looks like things are starting to open up your way. So, excuse me. Hopefully they'll open the Canadian border up so that I could cross over and start getting out there too as well. And then then it's going to be a mad dash to try and hire people to play this stuff live, because right now I just do it all myself.
Yeah. So are you talking about Sepsis the Swarm?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I follow them, and I like their music. I just don't like all the notifications that I get from them. They're constantly like, they are really super all over social media. And
yeah. They're in your face for sure. With
yeah, I probably get like a good 30 to 40 notifications a week from them, and it's just like, okay, guys, it's time to mute you.
Yeah.
So just a couple more.
I tend to be more conservative myself with that stuff. I don't have the time for it, especially because I'm a single independent artist.
Right.
I don't have anybody working alongside of me right at this moment.
Right.
So I don't, and besides that, I don't want to super saturate anyway. So
no, you never want to saturate it, because if you do, people are going to, like I said, I had to mute them, and I was just like, I've had enough of this. So I have just two more questions for you. Then we're going to play the song. What would someone who has never seen you perform expect to see when seeing you perform?
There's going to be some theatrical stuff that is going on. Obviously, because of budgets and everything else, it's going to be on the low for the first little while, because really I'm just starting to ramp things back up. But I definitely want people to walk away from the show and think, oh my God, like that was theatrical. Plus, there's some really cool music going on with it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, a little bit of like kind of pulling from Ghost, honestly. Like I really like their stage presence. I love their show. So that's what I'm kind of shooting for. Not so much the cathedral Pope type.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
A little bit different.
So, my last question for you is: what are some of the instruments that you are going to be using for the new recording?
For the most part, it's been your atypical synthesizers. I've
Yeah.
got two synths, guitars. I'm not putting any bass to it because I find that when I do the synthesizer parts, I will pick something that's got lots of low bass to it anyway.
Yep.
With arpeggiators and things like that. But it's uh, vocals, of course, too. If something calls for something else, like when you're using synths, you've got so many options
Right.
with VSTs, they're called, which are virtual instruments.
Right.
You pull from that to create a sound that is absolutely out of this world different. And so to actually have other instruments involved, I don't need to. As it stands right now, I program my drums. I'm not sure exactly yet if I'm going to have. I probably will because I lean towards a live drummer when I play live,
Yep.
but DJ as well.
Okay.
Somebody that is going to be up there, like I want to say a Slipknot, Linkin Park type DJ guy.
All right.
Not scratching per se, but some
Yep.
stuff like that. I love Prodigy. Back in the day, I used to love them too. So
Yep.
it's a work in progress. Again,
Absolutely.
the opportunity to sit at home and just kind of work on the music this since the pandemic. So,
Well,
yes.
Well, with that being said, I hope that, with you being from Canada, actually, I was supposed to go to Canada last April, and obviously we know what ended up happening there. And I had just got my passport, so Canada was going to be the first country that first time I'd been out of the country. And then all of a sudden it got shut down. So I hope that you and your family.
I was in Cuba when all this crap happened. We were shitting bricks. We didn't think we were going to be able to get home. We were worried about it because
Canada shut down everything.
Yeah.
So I hope that you and your family are staying safe. I hope that everybody that you love are staying safe as well. Everybody out there, please make sure to go check out Hagy Lane, HagyLane.com. Draco, go ahead and drop a plug where people can find your music, and we will go ahead and play Kenhora.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Go ahead and plug your stuff.
Okay. Do I just type it in on your stuff?
No, just tell everybody where they can find your music. I know that you can find it on Spotify, on your website. Where else can they find your stuff?
Well, we got the HagyLane.com if you want to listen. There's some old releases from back in 2007, 2008 there, which was a little more commercially friendly. I've definitely gone in a different direction with the new stuff. Then I have, of course, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. It's on every media platform that's out there. If you want to check me on Twitter, I'm on Twitter. And I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and you name it, I'm pretty much on it. You can Google search and find me pretty much everywhere. So easy to find. But if you're really watching for announcements, Twitter and Instagram is where I do the majority of my work. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, especially with all this what I call cancel culture going on. So anyway, but I do prefer Instagram and Twitter as my main go-to.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about your music with me. And hopefully in the near future, we can have you back on. For right now, everybody, please enjoy the song Kenhora. Am I saying that correct?
Kenhora.
Correct?
Yeah.
Kenhora? Okay. Enjoy the song Kenhora.
And it's a very
dedication.
I look for light.